Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Vince?
Check. Hey, what's going on, Coach Jay?
Sounds pretty good to me. Let's get a confirmation in the chat that we can see and hear us. Let's give it a second. We got a confirmation from Andrew. Audio and video is good, so we are good to go.
All right.
Welcome, everyone, to Slow Markets. I am Coach Jay, filling in for Coach Dakota, and that guy over there is Coach Vince. Coach Vince, what's going on?
Hey, not much. I'm glad to be on the show here. First time appearing on Slow Markets, so this is pretty awesome.
Thank you for joining me, Coach Vince. I did this segment yesterday by myself. It's an hour and a half. It was a lot of talking. I'm like, I gotta bring in some reinforcements. I gotta have someone join me so I can throw some questions, lob some questions your way. But thank you, everyone, for joining here. If you're wondering where Dakota is, he's still not feeling well. You can see he's been posting on X that he is still trading, but dealing with strep throat right now, and I don't think he wants to talk for an hour and a half. So he asked me and Coach Vince to fill in for him. So welcome to Slow Markets. I am Coach Jay, been a Topstep Performance Coach since June of 2023. Been trading for the past 12 years and in the futures markets for the past 5. And that is Coach Vince. Coach Vince, go ahead and introduce yourself for the people who may not know you.
So Coach Vince, I'm also been a performance coach here at Topstep since June of last year, same about a year and a half. My background comes from 21 years of futures trading, also a Series 3 registered futures and options broker since 2005 till present. So I've been, in the business for 19 years as a registered broker. Was a full service retail broker, and that was a pretty fun experience. It was much different than today. We used to call our trades down into the FCMs down at the pit level where they would run those orders into the pit. We had to timestamp them manually. It was a cool experience, and I'm glad I was able to be part of the past and now being able to get back into the future. So this is awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you for Coach Vince for joining me. If you guys don't know, Coach Vince is actually normally doing his segment in Discord around the same time. I believe you start about a half an hour earlier, usually right around 8 p.m. Eastern time. But if you guys haven't seen Coach Vince, I want to kind of lob some of the market review to him. So you guys can get a different perspective. I think most of you who have joined, who've seen me here, you kind of know how I personally look at the markets. But we'll look at the markets through Coach Vince's lens. Just for example, Coach Vince, I'm going to, give you some props here. Coach Vince was in a short in the ES from what price was that again? You sent me a message. You were short from
78.50.
And where'd you close that?
33.50.
Low of the day. So
well, you're close to it. I think I down like 31.5 or something like that, but it was.
I call that a great trade. Trade. So let's go through the markets. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Our wonderful mod Andrew is going to send those over to us, and I'm going to post the Topstep risk disclosure. Nightbot is going to post that a couple times as well. Remember, anything we talk about here today is for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. Coach Vince, you've been licensed for I don't know how long, so I know you give that speech every time you give a class. But remember, we're just going through our views of the market. So right now I have, I'm going to pull up a NASDAQ chart. We had the sell-off, very strong sell-off that we had yesterday. We talked about this a little bit last night, but what was today going to bring? Were we going to see kind of a dead cat bounce and a retracement of some of the moves? Or do we get some continuation? We did bounce. We bounced up towards this 20 moving average here on the daily, which is at 21,650. Really not a buyer in sight the entire time. Coach, we were just talking in the green room before we got on here, but you were saying there really wasn't a bid in this market at all. And now I'm starting to question, do we see one before the end of the year, right? A couple trading days left in the session and still selling off. And if we look at, the overnight session that just started tonight, it looks like selling is continuing. So equity markets looking very heavy across the board, right? It's the NASDAQ, it's the ES, the Dow, and the Russell, but still some really nice selling. I'm thinking about if I could potentially get into a short somewhere around 21,350 in the NASDAQ. But tell us, Coach, what are you looking at here? I'm going to pull up your charts and you can tell me what you're looking at and what you're seeing in the NASDAQ.
All right. So You want me to, like, for right now live, or what happened earlier today, or where do you want me to start with this?
Let's go with both. What'd you see today in the price action? I know you traded the S&P, so if you want to pull that up, you know, you trade. Take us through Coach
Well,
Vince's
yeah,
process,
so the
right?
one thing here in the NASDAQ, which is pretty interesting, is that there was an open range trade, huge opportunity today.
Okay.
So let me just cover that real quick. So we have our open range high. All right, here's our five. I use a 5-minute open range and a 1 minute. I know Coach Jay used 3. Hoag uses 1. I
Yep.
kind of look at the 1 and the 5. But you can see here, we had, here, let me just blow it up a little bit. So we start right here, right? So we have the NASDAQ. We have overnight inventories to the long side, right? I believe we had a late spike also yesterday. I know we did in the S&Ps, and we'll cover that. But we have a 5-minute open range here. And if you look and see, the 5-minute open range was the high of the session. So
Yep.
this was the best trade location of the day today. If you guys short the 5-minute open range and you hit a stop right above the high, you were able to capitalize. I mean, it was a tough trade, right? Because it was choppy, but it never would have hit your stop. You would have been in the green almost the whole time, which was a pretty comfortable trade. Once you're in the money, you're below the VWAP. You could be kind of confident, even though it played around up here a few times. But this trade gave a huge opportunity today. So let's just check and see what it is. So here's our open range high. Here's our open range low. And this is the potential move, right? Down to 4 o'clock. So the potential move here on this open range trade is almost 300 points.
It's a big move.
And the risk reward was 5.5 to 1. So, I mean, 300, that's $6,000 on a 1 lot, right? So not a bad,
you take a piece of that, you did your job.
Exactly.
It's funny, I got short at 21,667, right in that 5-minute opening range. But
Nice.
that price action, like you said, it was a tough to hold. I got 100
Yeah.
points, and I said, you know what, I'm good with that. I am, and now when I look at it, right, the ideal trade is what we had yesterday. I get short, and the market just never bounces. But today, that
Yeah.
overlap, right? We just had someone in the chat say, they made $3,000 to the upside. It was tough, but
Mhm.
the market presented the opportunity to do that, right? Some of those counter trend moves that we seen were 100 points to the opposite side.
Oh,
So, um, quick scalps in and outs. That was the potential, but it was, like you said, pretty much a down channel the entire day.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even the open right now gave us an opportunity to get short again. We're below the VWAP. We have an EMA here trending down. Here's the open, the evening session open, and it took out the low, and it's just been trending lower since. So right now, kind of had a little bit of a bear flag right here, right there. Maybe another bear flag happening right here. Okay, so we've got to watch this and see what happens. If this EMA and this VWAP stay above the market, I like the short side.
Coach, how many trades do you say you take during this session, right? Dakota started this slow market segment because this is where he really learned how to trade, right? Being a college student, not having time during the day to look at the markets. How many trades are you normally putting on, after 6 p.m. Eastern time before
Um,
the markets open?
yeah, so I'm not a huge evening trader, but with gold lately, I have been
Okay,
noticing I've been taking some gold trades because when the markets are moving, it piques my interest, right? If
right.
they're not really moving, it's kind of, I got to balance that out. But if it's moving, I do look at it. I do
Okay,
watch it. And if I do see opportunity, I'll put something on.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, I have the gold chart up here. Let's take a look at it. Uh,
Mhm.
And gold is an interesting one, right? We sold off a little
Yes.
bit yesterday, obviously. We retraced more than 50% of yesterday's move. If you guys remember, when we did slow markets yesterday, I did take a short in gold. I took profit on it and got stopped out on the rest. I was looking at my stop would have been up here at this 2640 is where I set it. So I would have gotten stopped out on that trade. But ultimately, it did what we were kind of expecting it to do, which was, continue to sell off. Gold was interesting during the day. This 2600 level, major psych level right below us.
Mhm.
Um, saw a bid quote, and you guys know I look at order flow, so I'm looking at the depth of market, and 180 contracts bid at 25.99.9. And if we can see the
Wow,
low
it's a
of
big
the
order
low,
for gold.
yeah, exactly. And if we can see the low of the day, no one, as convinced as we are to sell gold, down 40 points here, no one was convinced enough to sell through 180 lot there. So as we continue to trade around this area, I want to see whether or not, passive buyers are continuing to step up and prop the market up here. But what are you seeing in gold, Coach? I know you said you traded often. I know
Yeah.
you're looking at the opening range in the morning, but what are you seeing in gold right now for
Yeah.
higher time
So
frame or anything like that?
let's take a look, quick look. So you're on the 30-minute, right?
Yep, that was a 30.
Okay. So you're on 30. All right. So let's take a quick look at gold here. So right away, I'm kind of looking at this line right here. Okay. So we've been trending down. We had this big push here. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. All right. So we kind of had a little head and shoulders action too. It kind of had like a shoulder, head, shoulder, and a break.
Okay.
It's not like a beautiful one, but it's kind of on a shorter time frame. If you just take something like this, and right, there's the neckline right there.
Yep.
And then we draw the measured move, right, and you take it down like this, and when you get the break, there's your target. So this broke, and it's paid probably, I don't know, almost three times. The measurement on this. I mean, there's probably a bigger one back here somewhere else, but on a really short time frame over a couple of days, we had a little bit of this structure here that, and then we have this downward sloping trend line. So anything up against here, I like the shorts, right? And then we're below the VWAP again, and you can see the market's just been moving. So, and this was yesterday FOMC, so that was a big move.
Yes.
But right now on a shorter time frame, so if we're looking at this right now in this market, in the overnight, let's take a look. So we kind of have a little bit of a support zone right here. All right. Yep. And we had some sellers here, and then we had a little bit of a short. This is a very short time frame, but we're trending up and then we reverse down. But it's also a bear flag, right? So if you're looking at this and you back this up, we're trending down. We get a little relief rally, and then we're back into it. So this to me would have been a great entry for a short. And then this is a great exit, right? Going back into these buyers that held the market at this level. Right. So until we break this, I kind of like, this area. But we'll have to see what happens. And then if we get up here, I recover if I'm on the longs.
What gets you into a trade, right? Because this demand area that we have down here, we can see we bounced off of it. There's a 10-point bounce from there. What ultimately gets you to click the button and say, hey, this is a trade that I like? And in the example that you had in the S&Ps today, you probably held that trade for a couple of hours. What are you seeing?
It was long. Yeah, it was a long time.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, things need to line up. So I do look at value a lot. Okay. I'll go over that when we cover the S&Ps. So I look at value, I look at patterns, and I look at price action. Okay. And, and I try to get into areas that I can, hide a stop without having to risk a lot. Right. I look for cheap trades. So like for right now, I mean, we have a little bit of a slope, right? Going up a little bit, but we're hanging around this area. That's probably going to remain supported right now. We got these highs here. We take those out, maybe we'll, push a little higher. But anywhere up here, I'm probably looking at shorts, somewhere up in here.
What price is that, Coach?
Up here, we're looking at maybe 26.37. If I was going to maybe get 37s, 40s, depends on when we get there, right? Because this is sloping down. So somewhere up in this 37 to 40 range, I might look at shorts. We have this high up here, the swing high, but I'm going off of this downward trend line. Okay, overall in the longer time frame. So a lot of times you'll find a little bit of resistance. Sometimes it'll blow right through it, right? And then you have to reevaluate and maybe take a breakout trade or something like that. But anywhere up in here, I'm probably going to look for shorts.
Got you. So that 26, you said 26.37 area. I'm gonna pull up my charts again. We're about 20, almost 20 points away from there. Is there anything that you're seeing that says, take a long up to that level, or is that, hey, I want to?
Well, we could look at this right here. If you go back to my chart. All right. So we have this kind of this little line, right? And we broke above it and we are sloping to the upside. So if I'm going to take longs, okay, I want to be able to hide my stop, somewhere probably below these lows. I don't want it to be too rich, right? I don't want to risk too much.
Right.
So to just chase it, I don't know. I may want to see it kind of trend up, maybe come a little closer and get long. But, when we take out these little guys here, this might be something. There might be an opportunity for a long. But if we start to get back in there, right now we have a lot of risk, right? 15 down to that's a lot of risk.
Yeah, you're thinking if you get long here, your stop has to go below the low, right?
Yeah, I would say it has to be at least below this trend line right here in this support zone.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you want to put your stops in a place where the market has not been or has proven, at least in the medium time frame, that it hasn't been. And then if it gets there, you're then you're just wrong on the trade idea. Coach, we got some questions. What do you mean by hide your stop?
Okay, I knew that was going to come up. All right, so this is an example here. So let's say, here, I'll just plot this out. Where is that little tool? There we go. All right, so let's say I'm going to get long, right? So let's say I want to get long here on a test back to this exponential moving average and the VWAP. Okay, here's the VWAP, this yellow line, that's the VWAP.
Okay.
So let's say if this market pulls back, I want to get long. Hiding the stop means I'm going to put it below some sort of structure, right? So it could be below a support zone, which is right here, right? This is so far is support until we take it out. And we have a slight upsloping line from yesterday around 5 o'clock. So if this market comes back down, right, and let's say I get along somewhere in there, I need to hide the stop, right? It needs to be below some sort of area where it shows that buyers have interest. Okay, they might not reappear. Okay, Elvis might have left the building at this point. They might have took their money, and then by the time they come back to the party, everybody left out the door, and then we get the flush.
Right.
But hiding the stop just means putting it behind some sort of structure. That's all it means.
Gotcha. Thank you for that, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right, let's so anything you're seeing in gold right now to take a trade? I know you said up at the highs 26.37, potential short, but for now, waiting until it gets to that area. Question for you. Dakota does this for slow markets. Do you ever place a trade at a level and then just let it hit? Or are you normally entering, it's like, yeah, I like this price, I'm going to take the trade now? Or do you ever set a limit order and just let the market get to it if you have a level that you like?
Most of my trades are going to be limit orders. I rarely market in. Rarely.
Okay. Gotcha.
The only time I market in is if we're in a really strong trend and we're getting to maybe like an area of low volume where I think I might have an opportunity to get in, and it's not really giving me that opportunity to come back enough to fill my limit order. So that's really the only time I'll market in.
Got you. All right. Thank you for that. We got some questions in here from Bruh It's Sushi. Hey, Coach. Last night I entered longs on the NASDAQ. Was up about 900 right before the New York session start. Then New York started and you saw what happened. I ended up getting stopped out for $180. How do I mentally get away from this? I ended up red for the day because of what happened. So I'm going to pull up the NASDAQ chart real quick.
Let's take a look.
And let's take a look at it. So you were long last night. Great trade. You were up $900. Great trade. Before the market opens, which is right here. And then the market starts to turn. I think this is a perfect example of, having expectations for where the market is going to go, but then paying attention in real time to what the market is saying to you, right? Could I get long down here at 21,450 and, have a price target of 22,000? I could, but if the market doesn't agree with that trade idea, then I have to take whatever the market is willing to give me for that trade idea, right? I could set my price target at new all-time highs, but if the market doesn't agree with that, then I have to take what the market is giving me. So you had a great trade. you may have been looking for more than what the market was willing to present to you. And that's why I think it's really important to, if you have a bias or an opinion, hold it loosely, right? Because our opinion doesn't really control the markets. And you had a $900 trade. Do you get out exactly at the high?
Great trade.
Yeah, right. And it's also a decision you have to make. And Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about how you manage your trades, because you just held a trade in the S&Ps, right, where it just continued to present, money to you, and I'm going to take it. Some people trade with a price target, right? I'm looking for 20 points in the NASDAQ. I'm going to get in here. I'm looking for 20 points. I'm out. I don't care what the market does after that. I'm out of the trade. Some people, myself included, like to catch as much of the trend as possible. But in doing that, I'm fully accepting that I'm not going to get out at the high or low of that move, right? I'm not going to be the bottom tick or top tick. So whatever my P&L high is for the trade, unless I just mark it out and say, yeah, this is good, I'm accepting the fact that the market may continue to go without me, and going from there. Coach, how do you manage your trades? And what, if you want to give a little bit of an answer to that question as well.
Yeah.
Again,
so when I take a trade, I usually know, well, I know where my risk is first, right? That's the first thing I worry about, not actually the profit target in the beginning. So the main thing for me is know where the risk is first. Then I look for certain nuances in the market, from prior trading sessions. It could be points of control. It could be value areas. There's a whole bunch of things, and that is how I pretty much look at how I'm going to get out of a trade. What I'll do here is I'll cover the NASDAQ real quick, because I covered it in my session last night, and I think it'll help traders get a little bit of a visual on how I'm looking at things. Okay, because I saw there was 4 levels yesterday. Okay, so if I was short the NASDAQ yesterday, there were levels that I would have taken, a trade and taken off my profits at certain levels, and I'll actually cover why. Okay, let me just put these. All right, you have my screen up?
Yep, your screen's up.
All right, yeah. So let me pull this up here, and then I think this will be a good visual. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to take out the overnight data. Okay, so I'm going to go to regular trading hours only, and this is a 30-minute chart. And let me just check my little things here. Input, make this 4. Okay. All right, so let me just throw these volume profiles on here. So this is yesterday's move, right? This is yesterday. So I want to show you guys a couple of things here. And if you want to ask questions about while I'm doing it,
I'll pull up my charts while you're getting those ready. Yeah, let me know when you're ready, and I'll pull up your charts again. Chat again, if you guys have any questions, let us know. I really wish I was taking a trade, because if I'm looking at the equities, these presented some really nice urgency trades, right? You guys know what those are. We have the 30-minute opening range. VWAP left that range, and we're continuing to the downside. I was not at my charts. I was actually making dinner, so I missed that. It was an expensive dinner, but I'm not seeing an entry anywhere in any of these markets right now for my trading style. Right, I would need to pull up in the NASDAQ to at least 21,330 in order to continue to get short. I don't think I want to buy this market now, because we are seeing some short time frame, selling that goes with the higher time frame sell-off that we had, and I'm seeing a target, to the downside of 21,200. What were you making for dinner? Just some pasta, some pesto, chicken thighs.
Nice.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Coach, would you wait to get short if a retest VWAP? Yes. Yeah, I would be looking for a retest of VWAP at 21,330. Right, I can't take a short before that. Good to go?
Yep.
All right, cool. So I'm going to pull up Coach Vince's charts. You got it.
Okay. All right. So let me give you a little bit of my analysis from using volume profile, 30-minute chart. Okay. I also use market profile, but this is very similar. It's slightly different. All right. But let's look at, this was the 17th. Let me put the 18th on here. So this is yesterday here. Okay. All right. So this is yesterday's trading day right here. So we open, this is a 30-minute candle, all right, 30-minute chart. And you can see what did we do? What did we do yesterday? All right, let me zoom in a little bit. And what did we do? We open up, we test value high from the previous day, right? Right here, value high is this area. This is 70% of the day's volume was spent trading between this range to this range. 70% of the day was traded here based on volume. Okay, so we open below this value area and we trade it up, point of control, we get the value high, and we can't push, right? We can't take out the high from yesterday. Market comes back, and then we take out the lows, and then we go down. Okay, now where did we go? All right, there's 4 levels that I was watching in this market. Okay, so here's the first level right here, naked point of control from the volume profile. Okay, target 1, next target, point of control. Okay, markets don't like to leave unfinished business. Okay, at some point they are going to be cleared out. Okay, the markets like balance, and they like to clean up areas that are not it's just unfinished business, right? Unfinished business. So these volume profile point of controls, what this is, all it is it's the fairest price of the day. Okay, the most contracts traded at 22,095 on the 13th of December, right? The highest volume was at that price. The highest volume traded was at this price, okay, 21,775. We hit that, okay, target 2. Then we clear up a little gap, right? And look at this. This is amazing. I love this stuff. We have a gap. We have a gap right here, right? From way back. Now look at this. Watch this. We clean the gap up, right? Now what do we do here? We have another tiny, tiny, tiny gap right here. Okay.
What price is that, Coach?
Let me get it for you. All right, look at this. Right here, the gap here. The gap is 21,313.50. Gotcha. All right, so look at this entire move, okay? And let's visit this and let's follow it. We come up here, we get up the value high, we can't push, we can't take out the high from the previous session. Market rotates back down, we take out the low, we go to point of control, check. We go to point of control, check. We fill the gap. We come down here, we fill this gap, all right, and almost to the tick. It went like 2 ticks below it, and it bounced right off it, okay? And then where did it go from that point? It bounced from gap to gap, and then it sold off again, and it came back to the gap. So right now, these are levels I was looking at, and this is similar to the stuff that I look at in the S&Ps as well.
Gotcha.
Now, you don't know when this is going to happen, right? Sometimes I'm in the chat on TopstepTV, and I'm like, my target is, I don't know, 6,000, and probably people look at me like I'm crazy.
50 points away from it.
Right. But you never know, and anything can happen in these markets, right? And look what happened here. I mean, this was a huge move, and it cleared up all this stuff that was below the market. So it's all been checked, right? So now you look below the market there, and this is pretty much, And then also what we have here is a reversal, right? So let's look at trend. So we trend. We just take it right off of here, and we'll just go up. All right, so we're trending up, obviously, right? And then we break, and then we just off to the races.
It was such a great move, and I don't think it's over. I do not think it's over. Seeing some chat saying we got gold moving here.
Yeah, let's look at gold.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a pullback towards this VWAP, kind of 2610 area here. We did bounce off of it. So if you guys are in gold longs, shout out to you. And Horse Broke Dad says we got almost 800 people watching and only 22 likes. Refresh your video. I actually see over 100 likes. So shout out to you all. But I think we could do better. Let's get these likes up for Coach Vince's.
It's my first appearance. You better start hitting that thumbs up button.
Exactly. Hit that thumbs up for Coach Vince's first class doing here on YouTube. But thank you all for joining, and Horse Broke Dad, thank you for calling it out. All right, so chat, let us know if you see any other markets that are moving. I'm just going to do a quick scan again. We looked at the NASDAQ already. We looked at gold. NASDAQ feels like it's going without me, but, we talked about it. I'm not going to chase. If the move goes without me, that's fine. My best trading time is in the morning, right? So
Mhm.
if I have a clean setup that I could take overnight, I'll take it. But what I don't want to do is kind of waste all my ammo on lower quality trades and then get to the morning and have to lock myself out, right? Or have to,
Absolutely.
you know, watch great price action and not be a part of it because I use my risk budget overnight. So, um, gonna chalk this one
I
up.
agree with you there.
Seeing the Nasdaq continue to sell off here, I'm actually gonna switch over to because we just pushed
That's
down
the
to this.
worst feeling, right? You get put into close to your daily loss limit, and then you wake up in the morning, you're ready to trade, and you're like, I can't even take a trade.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh,
Pushing down towards this 21,250 area in the Nasdaq here. Reason I'm looking at this now is because 250 kind of a psych number, right? Ends in a zero hold number level, and if we go out to a 30-minute chart, we can see that there was some demand going back to the beginning of December, right? First month of December, we kind of consolidated around this area and bounced. So I'm looking for a potential bounce, right? Maybe not to get into a long, but we've retraced all of December's move so far. Um, so I'm thinking, whether or not this is an opportunity for a bounce, maybe a quick scalp to the other side, back up to that VWAP that I was looking at 330s. Uh, we will see here, Coach. We got a question
yeah.
earlier on. Can you give us some short time frame scalping tips? Do you do any scalp trades at all? If you do, how do you set those up? If you do,
Yeah.
and if not, that's cool too.
No, I'm not that much of a scalper, obviously.
Yep.
But I mean, I do have ways of scalping the market, right? So if I want to scalp the market, and sometimes I will do it. Like, let's say we're in a trend, right?
Hmm.
And we're in a strong trend for the day. I might throw in an extra contract in like a low volume area and just take like little bites as I'm in a longer time position, right? Just to
Interesting.
Right. So, like, let's say you're in a move, and the market's moving up and it's moving up, and then you get these little pullbacks into low volume. You buy it, you get around the high volume, back to low, you sell it, right? And then you keep doing it as the market is moving up. So I do that once in a while, but I'm not a big scalper. I prefer to just put it on, let it work for me. I try to stay relaxed, right? Trading is a stressful thing, right? So when you're in a trade, we all start to feel some sort of stress, right?
For sure.
Um, and I feel that when I'm scalping the market, it becomes very stressful, right?
Mm.
So I like the more relaxed approach, let the market work, and less trades is more for me because the scalping could get very, very hectic. And
Yeah,
then
I
you
feel I
start in
feel that
trouble
too.
too. You could kind of get in trouble sometimes because you start to scalp it. You get a little win, a little win, a little win. All of a sudden, you don't have your stop in or something, and then
One big
it
loss
starts
wipes it
to
all
move
out.
against you. Right, and it wipes out like 10 trades, and you're like, oh my god, what did I just do? I just spent all this, all this energy scalping these past 10 trades, and I just wiped it all out in one. So I try to reverse it, right? I don't win as much, but I look for a bigger winner.
Got you. Awesome. Thank you for
Yeah.
that, Coach. Yeah, and for me, if you're going to scalp, I think I see some people go down to a 15-second chart, or 30-second chart, a tick chart, maybe. I would suggest, if I was going to scalp, looking at patterns in tick charts and going from there. Maybe if you're looking at something like the Nasdaq on a 100 tick chart, you can kind of see where we make a peak. Um, the one thing I'll say, regardless of the time frame that you use, I personally don't scalp. Some of my trades turn into scalps, not intentionally, right? We
Right.
were on Topstep TV the other day, and we took a short. The market presented 30 points in about 30 seconds, and then I'm watching time in sales, and I see that momentum slow down. I'm out. Now, I didn't set that up as a scalp. My intentions were for the market to drop another 150 points, but it didn't do it. But that goes back to the point of assessing how good of a job the market is doing what you expect it to do, and if it's not, taking the trade off. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I
but
just want to comment on one thing here in the
okay, yeah,
chat.
yep,
So cheeky, it's definitely not me. So report that
oh
profile.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that I wouldn't be asking you for anything, honestly.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely report that, and then maybe check out my real Discord user, so that just report that one, whichever
Yep.
one it is, because it's not me. I promise
Yeah,
you.
just remember, no one from TopStep is going to message you guys first in Discord. We're definitely not going to try to sell you any crypto. If you see a Coach J coin out there, don't buy it. Don't buy it. But yeah, just be careful, right? Don't pay anything. Don't pay anyone for anything if it's not on the Topstep website.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, if you ever have a question about that, just pin one of the other coaches and just ask, hey, is this their profile? And we'll let you know because we know everybody's profile. So
for sure. Here we go. Getting a little bit of a pullback in gold here. Back to this VWAP.
Yep.
Let's see here, right? So we were looking for a short up near 26.37. We really didn't get it. Medium or shorter time frame is, kind of telling us that, we're seeing some price action to the upside. I have this 30-minute range here, which was the Globex open, and VWAP attached to that left the range to both sides. Normally, if we were trending in one direction, similar to what we did in the NASDAQ, how this VWAP left the range and we didn't look back, I'd be looking for a long here. But again, zooming out, gold looks heavy. So I don't know that I want to buy here, but very interesting.
Yeah. So looking at gold right now. So we opened the evening session here. Yeah. So gold here, we opened the evening session around 26.10, right around here. Okay. 26.10-ish. And you see, we did pop these highs here. So we probably ran a few stops and now we're pushing down. So that what I was saying earlier is I like longs maybe up against this sloping trend line. Like this could break, right? I could be totally wrong, but I probably wouldn't look for a long until we get closer to this zone because you have a little bit of support. The buyers ran the market up, came back, tested it, ran the market up, came back, ran it up. So
right or wrong, it gives you the opportunity to limit your risk.
Exactly. So I'd be a little patient in that. You're fighting up against these bundle of sellers here. If we can hang above these highs for an amount of time, maybe we'll push and maybe test up into these guys. But right now, I'm probably going to just stay on the sidelines with gold.
Got you. Thank you, Coach. We got some questions in the chat here. Again, keep feeding us your questions. We may do some trade reviews. If you guys want to send some links to your trade reports, you put those in Dakota's chat if you want. Coach Vince and I can go through a couple, give some suggestions on what we see in your trade report. So if you want us to review them, we're not going to get to all of them. So just full disclosure, we're not going to get to every single one of them, but we'll look through a couple. Share some either XFAs or combines that you're close to passing, and we can look through some trade reports there. Horse Broke Dad says, time myself out for 15 minutes. It's a great feature on TopstepX, being able to put yourself on a timeout. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm doing a little bit too much. I need to not trade for the next hour. I wish I had that feature in some platforms a long time ago, right? Where you can say, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to stop out. But let's see here. We're seeing some selling coming in the S&Ps and the NASDAQ still. The low of yesterday's move, right? That sell off right into the close. We're about to test that right now, 59.08. Seeing on the books here, there's about 295 contracts at 59.08. Yeah, this man looks really happy. We got a question from Jonathan Smith. Is the market crashing? What would you say, Coach? Is the market crashing?
I mean, it's a healthy pullback. The markets, you got to remember, and I talked about this on Topstep TV. You know how much money came into the market? What was it, earlier in the week or last week? When so much retail trader money flushes in, usually the high is potentially in, and maybe for the short time frame. Yeah. It's kind of like, what does Hoag say? Once the mailman is telling you to buy a stock, it's time to get rid of it. You know what I mean? By the time it gets to that level,
right,
the move is done. It's I think the market priced in the Fed. The Fed rate drops the interest rate, and what happens? We get a massive sell-off. So was it buy the rumor, sell the news? Who knows what it is? But I mean, we do need a healthy pullback. I mean, the markets are not going to go up forever. They have to go up and down.
Right.
So it's to be expected. Now, don't forget too, a lot of traders are thinking about the Santa Claus rally. So a lot of money might be pulling in, and it might be a little smoke and mirrors happening right now. So just be careful. The markets are thin right now, and there's going to be people that are going to bully around the market. Okay. And this morning in the S&Ps, we were talking about it in my VIP room, and even on TopstepTV, I threw a couple little things in the chat. We only had like 20, 25 contracts on the bid and offer in the S&P.
Yeah.
Usually there's 150 to 200 lots on the bid and offer at all times. And there was only like 25. So 75% of the market was not there.
Right.
You know, so when you get that type of a market state, it can strip people's gears. You're going to get exaggerated moves. It's going to blow to your stop, you know, and you saw the chop today. It was, you know, when I go over the ES, I'm going to explain my, my emotional feelings while I was in that trade, because you asked how you hold it, and I'll go over that with everybody, and I put some little fun emojis on there to explain what I was going through in my mind.
Awesome. You know, I'll answer that question real quick, and then I'll pull up your charts, Coach. Is the market crashing? A correction in the market is a 10% counter trend move, right? By definition, that's a correction, and then a bear market is a 20% move. From the high, we're down less than 5%. So
figure 6,000 S&Ps, 10% is 600 points. That's 5,400. So we're nowhere near 5,400.
Exactly. You know, in order to get to 10%, you got to, you know, hit 1%, 2%, 3%. So is this the beginning of a correction? It could be, but how many times have we seen this before this year, right? Where look at this high here, we pulled back, you know, CNBC's markets in turmoil, everything is crashing, and then, you know, we get a 4% pullback.
Sky is falling.
Right, we make all-time highs, right? Again, here, we got a 4%, 5% pullback, all-time highs. July was the closest we've gotten to a correction, right? That was an actual correction by definition, a 10% move to the downside. We bounced off the 200 daily moving average and then made all-time highs. But we were talking the other day, and the move that we just had off that FOMC felt a lot like July to me, right? We engulfed this 1-day candle engulfed a full 2 weeks of range.
It was 15 trading days. I was going over that last night in my class. Right. Yeah, it was like 15 trading days wiped out in one day.
So it does feel heavy, right? It does feel heavy. We're under the 50-day moving average in the S&Ps, and this white line, the 200 moving average, is still within, you know, correction territory, right? That's still not even down 10%. That would be 7.5%. So is it possible for us to continue to sell off here? I'm not going to say no, right? Could the market we find buyers tomorrow and make new all-time highs before the end of the year? Potentially. I think what's really important, it's good to have, you know, the higher time frame picture in mind. But for what we do here at Topstep, how does that help you frame your day trades? For me personally, if I'm getting long in any of these markets, I know that I'm counter trend the higher time frame trade. So once the market starts to show that it's not giving me favorable price action for a long, that's where I'm taking my profit, right? And it's probably a lot easier right now to hold on to short trades because the higher time frame trade trend is to the downside. So, Coach, I'm gonna pull up your screen. Talk to us through your ES trade that you took today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that emotional chart, and we'll go from there. Again, guys, I might not put on a trade tonight. Markets kind of went without me. And I'm not going to chase a trade that I'm not already in. So I'm going to pull up Coach Vince's charts, talk us through that, and I'm going to look through some performance stats.
Okay. All right. So here's yesterday's trading day, right? So, you know, the big sell-off. Now, here's the overnight. So we have the overnight inventory here. All right. From after the close, overnight inventory. So we closed on the lows. We had a late spike. And the late spike was 7.25. So right here, that's the base of the late spike. So coming into today, we go with it's called spike rules, right? So if you follow Hoag or if you come to mind, we talk about certain nuances in the marketplace. So we have the late spike. It's a profile type thing. So if we open in or below the late spike, we're probably going to be looking for the short side, right? If the spike was to the downside going into the close. If we open above the late spike, then we look at that as a rejection of the late spike, and then we're going to look for the longs. So today, you know, we open, okay, here's the base of the late spike, and we open the market right here, okay, 9:30 open. 5-minute open range. We test up. We get close to the base of the late spike, and the shorts come back in the market. This overnight inventory started to unravel, right? So we're trading down. And actually, let me bring this here. So this is how it looks like in the morning, right? So it starts up, the profile looks like that. All right, and as we're trading, okay, it's chopping around, right? It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. And then we put in our initial balance right here. Okay, so this is our first hour of the trading day, okay, right here. So you can see we test downside, we rotate back up where point of control. So the range bound trader, you know, is probably looking to get long up in here with rotation back up to point of control. Okay, but later on in the day, point of control, right? So it's right here. So we rotate in the range, the longs are on, short, you know, cheap risk, rotate up to the high or the point of control on the exit. All right, but as we keep progressing on the day, point of control and volume is building here on the downside, right? Point of control came down. So we keep flash forward, you know, we're here at 1 o'clock. I was very patient. I was telling my traders in the VIPs and in my chat, you know, I'm just being patient today. And then eventually I ended up taking a short. I took a short at 78.25. Hold on, let me back this up here. So let me put on the VWAP and the EMA so you can see everything here. All right. So this is an exponential moving average. This is the VWAP. Okay. Now, the market trades down. We take out the IB low. Okay. And we're below value. Let's keep this moving. We get into these guys here.
Oh, Coach,
okay.
You just
a little bit of.
Coach, you just turned into a robot. Can you guys still hear Coach Vince?
Robot.
Yeah, you just got like this weird robot voice. I don't know if try leaving the video and coming back. You see what happens? Goldman interns. As soon as he starts giving out the sauce, try to cut his connection. So try leaving and coming back, Coach. All right, Coach Vince will be back. All right, now what do we do? You see, always trying to give out information, trying to teach traders, and they're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. If he tells them all that, they're going to make too much money. Get them out of here. All right, so anyone in any trades right now? Anyone in any trades? Like I said, I'm probably going to stay flat for the rest of the time. Unless I see something really clear that presents itself, be scanning for Coach Vince to come back in here. Here we go with this pullback in gold. All right, let me see if I can get him back in here. Go ahead, give me an audio check real quick, Coach.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
One more time on that.
Mic check.
Nope, it's the same.
Testing.
Hold on 1 second. So it's weird because you sound clear to me, but hold on 1 second, Coach. I'm gonna take your audio out of here and let's go to, where are we? Sorry about this. Go ahead, Coach. Give me a audio test now.
Mic check.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. All right. So we're good to go. Yep. Go ahead, Coach. Keep going. Let me pull up your. Just share your charts with me one more time, and then I'll bring them up.
Yep. And then I actually took 2 trades, and I'll go over them here.
Oh, can you guys hear me? Check. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Some people saying I'm muted, but just making sure. Go ahead, Coach.
All right. So let's get back to this here. So, you know, we have value high here. Okay. And let me just put on my, let me just show this here. So this was a combine account that I started for December. And so here we go. We open here, right? We push down. Now, the people that come to my sessions at night, I do a lot of chart recognition, right? We look at patterns. We look at areas to take trades. And I want to show you something here. So you can see I took a short up here at 75.75, right? That was one trade I took. And I got out of 58.50. And then I took another short up here at 78.50. And I had to close this one here because this was a combine and you can't make more than $1,500 in a day. So my personal accounts, I was able to get my full target of 33.5. But in this combine, I'm going to walk you through what I did here. All right. So we have value high up here, right? So value high, value low, point of control. We're looking at range. All right. So we open the day here. We were under the late spike. We pull down. We tap up here into the VWAP, push down. We put in our initial balance. Okay. Right here, 10.25. We extend the initial balance range a little bit. All right. So here's the initial balance low right there. Okay. So now there's two ways of looking at the market, right? You have a trend trader, you have a range bound trader, and then you have momentum too. But here's the low of the initial balance. So we test it, we start to extend the range, and we get a failed downside auction. Market rotates back to the range, and then the range bound trader is probably taking longs and getting out the VWAP or value high, right? This is second target, VWAP, value high, or point of control. I got up to here to value high. And then once we started to hang out and fail up here, I took a short. Okay. And I took the short and I covered it down here at 58.50. Okay. Value low. Okay. Value low at the time at this point was 50. I got it here at 58.50. Value low was 57.25. So I got out a little bit above value low. So that was my first trade. All right. But then we flash forward this market and now we're kind of, we have our volume building here. It's kind of range bound, even though we took out the initial balance low. And then we rotate back up to point of control. Right. So the range bound trade again, probably buying here and then selling it up here at point of control or getting out at value high. So we got up here to value high. Okay. Value high is at 84. We trade up here. We get this big green candle. And, I'm short right here at 78.50.
Yep.
My stop was just above here, 87, right? So I had to stop. So here, this is what the trade looked like. Let me get this.
We are seeing the equity markets continuing to sell off. Right now, price of the NASDAQ 21,230 and the S&Ps pushing into that 5,900 level. Keep going, Coach.
Nice.
But this feels like it's not really slow markets, right, with this sell-off continuing.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it for sure.
Really not a bounce at all. But go ahead, keep going, Coach.
Okay, yeah, it's selling. All right, so I'm short right here. Okay, I'm getting short at 78 up into this value high area, using this as my stop, my limitation, right? I hide my stop above this candle wick, which is above value. I almost got stopped out. Okay, and so I'm short of 78.50. It's immediately moving against me, right? I'm sweating. Comes down. We get back down here. Now I'm in the money. All right, now I'm going to blow this up. So I'm short here 78.50. Okay, market is all the way down here. So at this point, I have 61.25. I have 17 points, okay, of profit at this point. And my target was right here. Okay, because that was the $1,500 mark for the combine, so I couldn't trade past this point. So my ultimate target was way down, and I'll show you that.
It's a great trade.
But so here it is. I'm short. I'm 17 points. I miss my target by 3 ticks. Okay, the market rips in my face. Okay, I'm sweating. I have a picture. See this emoji? I'm dripping sweat. Okay, so when this, I love it. All right, so let me just back this up. So I'm dripping sweat right here at that point, right? Market is ripping in my face. I see the bar turning green. I'm like, oh boy, I'm done, right? So I'm sweating. Now we're up here at the VWAP. Now I'm ready to puke the trade, okay? Yep. These are the emotions going through my mind. I'm ready to puke the trade, but I've been here, okay? And I know when you start to get that feeling, that's the time where you got to hang on just a little longer, right? Just a little bit longer sometimes. Put it in your emotional journal, and you'll start noticing.
Question for you here on this. Your stop initially was above 59.88. Did you ever move it? Are you one to move stops, or do you leave them where you initially set them?
No, I will bring it to break even.
Okay.
Yes, and then if I
Gotcha.
have a lot of money in the trade, I bring it to 2 to 1, 4 to 1 like that, and I'll trail it
Gotcha.
down.
Gotcha.
Yes. So yeah, there was. I will show you that. So my stop was just above this wick. I almost got ticked out. Right. I survived by like 2 points.
Yep.
2 S&P points. Right. Then it finally turns around. Right. Anything can happen. That's why you just let the trade play. Okay. You don't know what's going to happen. I've been in a trade where it got to 1 tick to the stop and it turned around, and you're like, oh my God. So you don't know. Right. But at this point, we hit the VWAP, and the bar is green, and it's above the VWAP right here. And I'm like, oh, it's going to close, and that's it. I'm going to get stopped out. And I had 17 points in this trade. All right. Now I'm going to get stopped out. So I'm ready to puke, and I don't. All right. I'm like, all right. I dug my heels in. I'm sticking with the trade, accept the risk and let it play out. Right after that happens, right, we get this red bar. Market trades down, and then boom, money, right? So I had to get out there. There was no choice. So that's the only reason I chose my target. Okay, my target was the overnight low. So my target was 33.50 on my personal accounts. So I had a target down here at 33.50. All right.
Where does that target come from? I know you mentioned some volume profile stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all right, so let's go back here. So what I was looking at here, all right, at this 33.50, I was actually looking at this right here. So you see where we turned around?
Yep.
We have like a V bottom here, okay? So when this market drove down and it rips higher, okay, it rips hard. You get a big candle, conviction candle, and it's just going. So in my eyes, I'm saying, well, if this market gets back into these lows, okay, these guys right here, I want to get out, because I know that once we got down here, buyers came in like this was a Black Friday sale, right? And they just bought this thing and they ripped it up. Like it just came off the low hard. This was at the 4 o'clock close, right? They pushed it into the lows, right? Everybody had to meet their margin call going into the 4 o'clock, close. And then they brought the market up, right? They just ripped everybody to margin. So that's why I got out of that one particular trade there. But if we look at the volume profile, yesterday was just a major trend day. It's straight down. So there's really nothing to look at on that one, like the NASDAQ. But
got you.
This is what I was playing, was value high, right? Value high. I was resting my stop just above an area that we turned around and found the sellers. Okay. So that was the reason behind the trade. And then the reward of the trade was 33.50.
I'm actually getting ready to put on a trade right now, Coach. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm getting ready to put on a trade. I just want to make sure I share this. This is in a combine. Like I said, I'm not seeing anything I really love, but I am looking at micro Bitcoin that has been selling off. And we have somewhat of a setup here. We have VWAP leaving the range, price leaving the range as well. We're kind of holding at that VWAP here. So I'm going to get short to micro Bitcoin, risking making a new high on the session up at 350. And my target for this is going to be 95,000 evens. So a little bit more than a 1-to-1. But I like this setup, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to switch back over to your charts, Coach.
Again, I just pulled up the Bitcoin actually.
All right, cool. And again, this is just a kind of a feeler trade. I'm not putting. I'm just going with trading the strategy when it presents itself. We left the 30-minute range. Volume is below the range as well. If we push up to 50% of this range here, which is at 38,230, and we don't see some momentum, I may get back. I may add to the trade. I am aware that we have some wicks on the bottom of these daily candles that we could pop, but just going with a maybe some continuation of this sell-off. Could be a trade I get stopped out. We will see what happens. But go ahead, Coach.
Which market was that one?
Micro Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think I have it up, right? MBT.
Yep. Yep,
Yep.
100%.
All
And if
right.
you
So I
guys are
got the
asking
total here.
for Dakota, Dakota is out sick. He will be back next week. Let's go over to your charts, coach. Tell me what you see from your perspective. Did I just get into a
Yeah.
terrible trade in micro Bitcoin, or what do we see?
Well, there's a couple things going on here. So let's take a look. So I have this on a 5 minute. What were you on? 30?
Yep, on a 30.
Okay, you were on a 30. Okay. So let's look at a couple things here. So this is the open, right, from the overnight session. And we kind of, and there's nothing really going on there. Now we did kind of break a little bit of this down structure here, but the VWAP is there, which I like. Let's look at this from, say, so you're short?
I am short. Yep.
You're short?
Yep, I'm short.
Okay.
We just broke above your trend line.
Well, yeah, but this isn't really, I just want to see kind of what's going on a little bit. So let me just check a couple of things out here. All right. Actually, I'm gonna pull up a 30 minute because that's what you're looking at. So,
yep.
All right. Okay. So on a 30 minute, we have a couple of things going on here, right? So let's take a look. Kind of have a little, hold on, let me change the color of this so you can see it. All right. So we kind of have a little bit of this going on. All right. So we kind of have a little bit of a head and shoulders here. Okay. So I like looking at patterns, right? I'm a very visual trader. Markets, I believe, are visual as well. They're not always going to work the patterns, but what I see right here is we had a head and shoulders top here. Okay. And you could draw a measured move. So a lot of these moves, they're measured, they're percentage based. And you can see we had a little shoulder, we had this head, we had another shoulder, and we have the breakdown. Okay. You take the measured move, and that's your projected profit target. Okay. Sometimes these will go 1-to-1, 2-to-1, depends. But this is the ultimate profit target on this particular head and shoulders. Now, if you stretch this out, you zoom out, you kind of have a bigger one brewing, right?
Yep.
So you kind of have one here. All right. So now we have another one kind of brewing right here. Actually, I'm just going to do the one that's easier. All right. So we kind of have this.
And I just want to answer a question in the chat. Why are the coaches trading on combines and paper accounts? I said it. I do have an XFA with Topstep. If this was a trade that I was comfortable taking in an XFA, I would have clearly put it there. Some of the trade setups that I've had for the night have already passed, where we still have to do the segment, right? If we didn't have this class planned and my trades already passed me, I would have shut down my charts and not traded anything. But it's still an opportunity for education. And we have the session open for an hour and a half, right? So I'm not going to place a trade in an account that matters on trades that I don't 100% agree with, right? This is me practicing and continuing to do a session. But go ahead, Coach Vince.
Yeah, no worries. All right, so here's our measured move, okay? So if you're short Bitcoin, we kind of have a head and shoulders pattern here. We take our measured move, and this is our projected target, okay? So if you're short, this is probably an area of opportunity to cover at 90,000, okay? So that move brings us down to 90,000. We're kind of in an area here where we're getting a little bit toppy, we're end of the year. Maybe people might start taking a little profits off the table. We kind of have a break of structure also on the 30-minute chart. So this kind of confirms a couple of things. We have upwards and sloping structure, right? We have an uptrend. We broke the structure right here. Okay, this is a structure break. Now, a lot of times this market will come up and test the backside of the trend line, and then that's where you take the short. All right, so there is a good possibility that this could continue going lower. right? But there's also a possibility that this might trade all the way up here and give us an opportunity to get a short. And if it can stay below this upward sloping line, we have a very good opportunity to take this short to the other side. Let me go back to the S&P real quick, and I'm going to show you what I did here. All right. And I'll explain this. Let me put this on a 5 minute, and then let me just remove some of this stuff off of here. Okay. So what else gave me reason for these shorts? Can anybody in the chat tell me what else would have caused me to maybe want to take a short here at 75, right? When I took the first short, then I took it off at 58, and then I got short again at 78. What do you see in this frame? I'm gonna ask the class here. What do you see in that frame? Would it give me the idea to maybe take a short today?
That same pattern you were kind of just looking at there, that head and shoulders.
Well, similar. It's a little different. Similar but different. Anybody else? All right, here it is.
Got some people saying resistance, head and shoulders.
Yep, here it is. I'll show you everybody. All right, so what do we have here? Okay, anybody? I know the people that come to my sessions probably know. So what are we looking at here?
Lower highs.
What do we have here?
We got some people saying break and retest, trend line retest, break of structure.
The trend is your friend until it bends, right? And this is a crown formation. So we cover this a lot in my session. So, we're trending up. The trend's your friend. It bends, right? We break structure. So when the market is moving in a bullish trend or a bearish trend, the statistics they say is about 80% of the time, if you're in a trend, it will continue in its direction, right? But once it breaks structure and closes below the trend line, now you go to kind of like 50-50, right? But a lot of times the market will come back, it'll retest, which gives you an opportunity to take this short. That is why I took my short today. We tested this trend line, and then I took the short on, it started to come down, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get short and risk this high, right? Here it is. Boom. Short, 79, 59, 75, 75. All right. So I use this pattern, all right, upward sloping pattern, trend break with the test. Usually like this high could probably be an area where you would enter too, right? Because sometimes these are symmetrical, but it's not always symmetrical, right? So if the market would have got up here too, I probably would have got short again, but it did not. So I had my stop up here. I took the first trade down, rode it to 58. I got short again here at 78 quarter with my stop above that high again. And then I just made it. And then that's the reason, right? So we had this going up. We broke structure. We retest it. It told us that, hey, we couldn't get back into this upward trend line, right? We're going to probably be bearish. And then once it pulled back, I got a little confirmation in this candle here. I took the short right there. Boom. And that was the reason behind the whole trade, is the pattern.
Great trade, coach.
Okay? So that is how I kind of look at things. I'm a visual trader. I don't really look at many indicators. I do pay attention to the VWAP. I've been learning a lot about it over this year. It wasn't something that I was really focused on, but it's becoming very, very helpful. And I'm noticing a lot of things, which I like about it. So
awesome. Thank you for that, coach. Looking at this micro Bitcoin trade, down a little bit, but I like where my stop is. It could be a trade that I'm going to take a loss on, but I am accepting the risk on this account and going from there. Let's see. Let's get to some trade review. I only see 2 in the chat, so we're going to do those 2 and go from there. Then we'll answer some questions and we will get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Give me 1 second. Pull
now,
these
coach,
up.
go to Bitcoin trade. If you bring up my chart real quick, I'm going to show you a couple of things here.
Where are we? Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we opened here, right? So this is our overnight high right now, right here at 98,870. Okay. We have this push down. All right. So we had a little bit of a push, a little wave down, and we're kind of getting this bounce. Okay. But what I would be looking at, now you're already short. What I would be looking at is this. If this market starts to do this, right? I'll probably look to get short again, because right now what it's doing is it's pushing, right? But we're still in a downtrend from the overnight session overall.
Yep.
So we opened bearish, we're popping up. We could be getting a little bit of a rally, but in the longer time frame picture, okay, we had a bear flag right here. All right. So look, we did the same thing. We rallied up. People start getting excited. They start buying this market. And then all of a sudden it reverses in their face. And then, flushecito.
Right.
This could be the same thing happening here. So as long as we don't take out this high, I like the short side.
Gotcha.
Just where the location, I would probably remain a little bit patient.
Yep.
And where's your stop?
My stop right now is at 99 100. 99 100.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's great. So you're above the high here. So that's good. So that's a good area, because you probably have to risk to above this or above this high here.
Yep.
Right. So what I would like to see, though, I would like to see this market start to turn around and get below this line right here. Okay. So that's what I would like to see. I would like to see it do something like this and kind of turn over. Right. And then.
Got you. Then you get short on the way back down. Makes sense.
Yep. So let it break it. Let it get a little bit of confirmation, maybe take the short. And then maybe you can actually risk that high a little tighter stop
once it turns.
Because if you're wrong, yeah, you got it.
Yep. Makes a ton of sense to me, Coach. We got some people in the chat saying they love your trading style, Coach Vince. And that's why we're doing this, right? Getting different perspective. It's always great to hear a different voice. And, while we can, if we can fill in for Dakota, we're going to do that. But remember, if you like Coach Vince's style, he does a class in Discord every Monday through Thursday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Let's go through some trade reports real quick, Coach. I am going to, let's see, we got two. And again, I'm going to go through these two and we'll go from there. So we got one XFA. I will bring this up in a second. Chat, let me know when you can see it. Hold on one second. And Coach, you should be able to see it too. Here we go. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
All right, so we have an XFA started on December 2nd. We have 4,400 in the profit right now, 66% win rate. Let me actually send you the link to this, Coach, so you can take a look at it on your side as well.
Sure.
And let me know if you see anything that I might be missing. I'm going to send this to you in Discord.
All right.
But let's keep going through this. So 66% win rate. Losses are a little bit bigger than your winners, right? Losses are almost $100 more than your winners, but with a 66% win rate, you are still profitable in this account. Let's see what we got here. 7, I like the hold times, right? I don't think this trader is scalping. I could imagine there's some shorter time frame trades, some longer time frame trades kind of mixed in. No directional bias, about 50%. Taking a decent amount of trades. So I'm wondering, anytime I see one of these trade reports, as I'm scrolling down, I'm kind of wondering what this trader is doing. Trying to identify what contract size you might be trading and things like that. I think this trader is trading minis. It's kind of what it looks like, but I could be wrong. Or maybe scaling in and out of micros. But really nice trade report. Only one losing day. I love the fact that you are journaling most of the days that you trade, right? It's not every day, but that's okay. I don't think we need to journal every single day. Maybe if you're in the beginning of your trading, kind of getting through that. But there you go. Yep, I was right.
Yeah, they're trading mini ES right there.
Mini ES. Okay.
Yeah.
One losing day. I mean, this is a great trade report. The one question I always have when I see these is, what account size is it? I see you're not doing more than 2. Let me make sure you're not scaling into trades. But yeah, I see you're not doing more than 2 ES trades, which I think is great. I think more people should probably trade the ES over the NASDAQ just because of the market personality, even though the ES has felt like the NASDAQ over the past couple of days. But really good trade report. I see a day like this where you're down $750, you make a recovery. Anytime I see that, I just, my word of caution is just plan what your losing days look like. Um, at some point, we're going to have to take a losing day. So define a number. That's the one thing that we can probably have any certainty in, is how much we're going to lose in the markets. So define that, whatever that is. You know, making these recoveries is great, but every once in a while, a day that we try to recover turns into a catastrophic loss, right? So you want to try to avoid that by just saying, hey, you know what? If shit hits the fan, I'm not losing more than this, right? I'm not going to blow my whole account because you know, I took some losses. But really nice trading, really great recoveries. What would you say on this, Coach?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it, and so you're talking about it looks like he's more of a scalper.
Okay.
Most trades are 2 to 5 minutes, it kind of looks like here. Hold on, I'm trying to fix my screen here so I can see a little bit better. There we go. So when I'm looking at the trade report, 68% of the winning trades are between 2 to 5 minutes. So for me, that's kind of a scalping time frame for me. I mean, not some 2 to 5 minutes for some traders is a lifetime,
right?
You know. But for me, I would consider that like scalping time frame.
Okay.
And that's the most success rate was under 15 seconds, but that's super scalp.
Yeah.
But 2 to 5 minutes has a 68.3% win rate. 1 to 2 minutes is 63, 64, 5 to 10. So, I mean, even the trades, you know, up to an hour are still above 50% of the time. So I do like that. My only concern is, you know, if your performance flip flops to, you know, under 50%, right?
Yep.
If you start to fall below the threshold of 50% win rate, you might start having some issues, right? Because it could flip your results upside down. So, you know, if you're winning 166 average and you're losing 242, you got to be a little bit careful if you start to go into drawdown, okay? Because then that can start eating away at your profits. So you want to try to get above 1 to 1. You know, shoot for 2 to 1 if you can. You know, but practice it first. Don't just go in blindly just trying to get more. You know, if you have a certain trading style, it may not fit. So you got to just try to maybe find a little bit better trade location or something like that.
Gotcha.
But overall, it looks great. You know, 66% win rate. You know, I'm gonna tell you right now, your win rate's better than mine. You know, so I just think you just need to work on maybe getting a little bit of you know, bigger trade on there.
All right, so we have Kevin in the chat whose account this is. This is a 50K account. And Kevin, I think we talked earlier, maybe earlier today, about your trade report during At the Buzzer. You asked a question about taking a payout. This started off as a 50K account and you built the balance up to 4,500. Make sure you pay yourself off of this if you need it, right? But even if you don't need it, take something, right? Take something, at least pay for the account.
Absolutely.
Right?
Make it real.
Yeah, at least pay for the account that you know, the money that you put in, right? Your combine and your activation fee, at least pay for that, and take some payouts. But Kevin said, you know, I start off losing, and in the recovery mode, I tend to overtrade and give back my profits. Yeah, just be aware of that, right? Sometimes that going down on the day and then making the recovery, if it's a sustainable type of trading, right? Because we don't get to decide whether or not the first trade of the day is going to be a winner, right? It might be a loser, and you might start with a drawdown. I hate saying, oh well, if you take a loss on your first trade, don't trade anymore, unless that loss is huge, right? Because there are going to be a bunch of trades in your trading career, right? And you know, putting that limitation on one losing trade to start the day, fine. I think where it gets dangerous is if we start to see wild swings during the day, right? Where you might be down 400, back up to down 100, then down 600, now back up to positive 200, and back down to negative 400, and then back up to positive 600. Be very careful of those days, because in my own trading, in reviewing other traders' trade reports, those are the days that end up in a catastrophe, right? Because you're like fighting for your life. And at that point, if you get back above positive or somewhere close to a reasonable drawdown, lock it out. Because, you know, that's where I've seen accounts get blown. Kevin, make sure you have a personal daily loss limit set on this account. I've seen some $1,500 drawdowns that you've recovered from. $1,500 is 30%, 33% of this account right now. It's a lot of money to lose in one day. So decide what it is that you're going to be comfortable losing when it happens. And then understand that a drawdown in the account, it does not have to be the death sentence of that account, right? You could recover the very next day. Had a trader in my VIPs, coach, that November, I think they lost on 80% of the days in November. Account's still active in December.
Right. And it could be. Yeah, it could be.
Right. You manage the balance in that account. So just do that. But great trading. Pay yourself. Keep doing what you're doing. Any other suggestions before we go to the next one, Coach?
Yeah. So just Kevin, just to give you a little bit of how I would look at things on this is, you know, you got to get the win rate is great, right? But we're all going to face that drawdown period where, you know, even like the last 2 weeks, it's been a struggle for a lot of traders these last 2 weeks. So I'm glad that you're doing well. A lot of times during the holiday trade, it strips the gears. But what I would say is if you're finding yourself getting into maybe over trading or something like that, you just need to step back and just look for good trade opportunities, right? Because the one thing that we do as humans, we want to be right. You know, we don't like to be wrong. And I think when we start to lose, we get angry and we want to battle and force profits. And that is the worst thing you could do. It's a recipe for disaster. Okay. There's going to be days, like I've had days where, you know, I might have had 3 losing days in a row. Okay. But then the next day, maybe I catch an open range trade or something else. And then that one day actually makes back all the profits for the last 2-3 days in one trade. So, you know, try to find better trade locations that maybe can offer a bigger reward of potential. You know, try to get that win rate above 2-1 if you can. Like over time, do a little, chip at it a little by little. I'm not saying just go out and do it tomorrow, right? Because it can mess you up, and I don't want that to happen to you. But over time, just, you know, journal it. What if I did this? What if I did that? And over time, you can see, and you can actually track the profits that you may have had if, let's say, you let it go to full target or something like that.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Coach. We're going to go through one more. I see some more coming through the chat, but unfortunately, we got to end in a couple minutes here, guys. Let's go through Krish, who was the next trader that shared, and we'll get back to the markets and get out of here. So here is Krish's trade report. Looks like an XFA that started in October. So I really love that. You've had this account open since October. There is a $4,000 balance in the account right now. 63% win rate. Let me send this one to you too, Coach. Just sent that over. 63% win rate. This trader is definitely trading micros. 31, very similar stats, right? Where your losses are bigger than your winners, but you're winning about 60% of your trades. Clearly scaling in and out of micros. No directional bias. Somewhat short time frame trades. This is great. This is sustainable. This is the type of stats. These are the type of stats that get moved over to a live account. You're eligible for a payout. I see a pretty big drawdown here where you went from 3,500 down to 1,500. So I'm hoping that was from a payout. It looks like it was. Looks like there was maybe a loss and then a payout. December 12th. Okay, so you took a payout and then took a loss. Great. Keep doing this. This gets moved over to a live account eventually. And that should ultimately be the goal. The one thing I would say is, you know, I know you're scaling in and out of micros. I see some days where you're, 50 trades. That always happens. I clicked on the day where we had 49 trades, massive drawdown before recovery. Again, great recovery. And maybe this drawdown is in your trade plan where you weren't anywhere near your personal daily loss limit. But just be aware of days like this. And this day I can see, okay, so let me check this report actually, because I see on that day you were trading minis. Most of the days you're trading micros. So for some reason on that day, and it happened to be a pretty big swing day, great recovery, but for some reason on this day you decided to scale up and trade minis. Be very conscious of that. If you're going from trading micros and you're trading 2 micros, 3 micros, maybe even 5, and then you go to 1 mini, you're doing anything, between a 2x and a 5x the risk that you're taking. It might not seem like a lot because we're saying, oh, it's just 1 mini. That's a ton of risk to be adding to your
And
trades.
it throws up your mental game too.
Yep.
You're not comfortable, right? Like what I try to tell people is you want to be comfortable in the trade. You don't want to feel like you're on edge and you're sitting on your seat and you're biting your fingernails,
Right.
right? That is not the way you want to trade. You want to be able to chill and be able to walk away from the screen for a second. If you find yourself, you can't get away from the screen for 2 seconds, you're probably trading with too big of size, right? Because you're nervous, you're scared of the leverage. So, take a step back. If you're doing well with the micros, right? You have an $1,800 account balance. It would have been higher, but unfortunately, you took that big loss on that one day. It looks
So
like.
I'm seeing actually a lot of the balance in this account comes from the first 2 days, right? Where you made, or first week really, where you made $1,800. You were trading minis. Coach, the trader who shared this, Chris, shared in the comment as well that they moved to trading micro S&Ps in the last month or so. I love that decision.
Yeah,
I love that decision, and I'm seeing less swings intraday. There still are a couple, right? Be careful of this.
The equity curve looks great. It's
Yeah. Krish, okay, removed NQ from your watch list. Look at this day. This is a great recovery. But we don't have to put ourselves through this.
right.
Right? We don't have to put ourselves through that. So if you're adjusting and moving over to the S&Ps, I think that's great. How do you join Coach Vince's sessions? Coach Vince's sessions start at 8 p.m. Eastern time in Discord. If you're already in Discord, you'll see them on the calendar tab. But at 8 p.m., you will see a session start right after Coach Ray goes at 7 p.m. Eastern. But join them from Discord. But yeah, Chris, just you're clearly a good trader, right? Where you can recover from some drawdowns. Fight in the middle of the ring instead of with your back against the ropes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you got, Coach?
No, I mean, it looks good. Same situation though as the previous trader, Kevin. The risk reward ratio is a little flip flop. So average winning trade 31.40, average losing trade 44.32. So you're going to be kind of in the same boat if you get into that drawdown period. If you have a lot of green days on the board, right? But what if all those green days were red days, right? How quick will that eat away at the profits? You follow me? So, you want to see days where, your winning trade, let's say your average losing trade is 44.32. It'd be nice to see your winning trade at least 1.5 times that, or possibly 2 times. Because if you can get 2 times reward to risk ratio, or risk reward, whatever you want to call it, you only need to be right 40% and you'll still be profitable at the end of the year, okay, from start to finish. So you want to really focus on trying to get that percentage up, but you do it in little steps, right? You don't want to overextend yourself and then, you end up blowing up. So you're doing good. Your equity curve looks good. Just try to keep that winning percentage the way it is. It looks great right now. And, just keep doing what you're doing because it looks good. Honestly, it looks good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Coach. We are coming up on time here. This micro Bitcoin trade is going against me, but like I said, I may try to build into a position if we push up into these 98 to 200 area. I may be adding to this, but my stop is not going to move. But Coach, before we get out of here, any final words? Pull your charts up. All right, here we go.
All right. So you see what we're looking at right now?
Yep, I can see that.
All right. So, we had a little bit of relax, pull back. It's still pushing, but I'm watching this right here. All right. So this is an interesting level right now where we're at right now. So we really need to pay attention to what's going on here.
Yeah.
In Bitcoin. Okay. Let me just draw this out. So obviously we have sellers here, right? They sold it, they brought it down. We have buyers in this area, they brought it up. We took out that, we come back, we chop, try to push, fail, came down, push. So maybe this area here is something where we can lean on. Okay. I would love to see this thing to start to turn around. The only concern I have right now in this market is we have this VWAP here. Okay.
Yep.
I would like to see this turn around, and we're probably going to struggle around here a little bit, right? Usually it'll chop, and then it'll tire everybody out. And then once you're out, it makes the move. But I do like a short. Okay. I think we have a little bit of sellers around this zone. If we can close below this line, maybe we have a bear flag, and maybe we'll have, maybe some continuation to the downside. I would like to see this have maybe a close or two below. Maybe risk this high or, this high, depending on how much you're risking.
Yep.
I know your risking is up here. So you're in a pretty good spot risk-wise because you're all the way up here.
So one thing I love about micro Bitcoin, Coach, you can set your stops pretty wide. If they get stopped out, they get stopped out. But it's not going to cost me a whole lot. On a 2-lot, it's going to cost me, making a new high on the day, going to cost me less than $400. Which in the NASDAQ trading a mini, that could happen before I even get into the trade.
That NASDAQ is a beast.
Right.
It really is.
All right. But we are at time, Coach. Any final words before we get out of here today?
No, it was, I appreciate you guys having me come on slow markets. I think I was on the screen once with Dakota, but it was in Discord. I don't think it was ever on slow markets. So this was awesome.
Yeah.
We just want to wish everybody a good trading day tomorrow. Just be very careful. It's triple witching day tomorrow. Maybe a good day to take off. I've seen a lot of traders blow accounts on expiration day, triple witching day, option expiration, futures rollover. So tomorrow is going to be a pretty volatile day. So just be very, very careful. If you got something to do, maybe take a long weekend. Honestly,
there we go.
Check the volume in the morning. Like this morning, I didn't trade all morning. I traded more towards the afternoon. There was a little bit of a thicker market. Like I said, in the morning, we were at like 25 on the bid and offer in the S&P, and it's usually like 200, right? So we were like 10% of the volume that's normally in the marketplace. So just be very careful tomorrow. Take notice. A lot of traders here probably don't see it because you don't trade live. But if you have a live data feed, so if you have your own account, I actually posted in my chat to show the traders, hey, look, this is the actual live bid and offers in the market. So maybe if you want to peek around tomorrow, maybe I'll post a screenshot just to show you how many are actually on the bid and offer, because you're not going to really see the true data in the sim environment. But I'll do a screenshot and post it so everybody can see what the actual bids and offers are in the real market.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Coach Vince. Again, thank you for jumping on here. It's always great to talk. Sometimes I'm just if I'm doing something on the side, I'll have Coach Vince's session up. Just listening in and being a student myself, because I love your approach to the markets, Coach. So thank you as always.
Hey, I learn a lot from you guys too. We all learn from each other, right? This is I've learned more about VWAP and volume, the ticker tape. So learned a lot from you too, Coach. So, awesome. We're in this together. So
100%.
Let's get these traders on the right path here. But look at that Bitcoin. It's starting to turn over. I'm
starting to turn. Let's sell off here. But thank you, everyone, for joining. Again, if you want to catch Coach Vince in Discord, 8 p.m., you also see him in the TopstepTV chat during the fast markets, putting in some trade ideas for what he's looking at. Again, anything we talk about is for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. Click the button at your own risk. We are going to get out of here.
Performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Futures trading involves risk.
There we go. See you all tomorrow. I'll be on Fast Markets tomorrow with Mo and Nick Furtick and Andre. And then after that, I'm looking forward to taking a nap. But thank you, everyone. We will see you all tomorrow. Thanks, Coach. Have a good one.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Trade well.